Blessings to you on this, the most solemn of our Christian observances, the observance of the death of our friend, our Savior, our Rabbi, our teacher, Jesus of Nazareth, on a cross. This is a day that vexes us, not only because it's sad and tragic, but because it's hard to know really what this means or what's in the mind of God that would allow or even require that God's only Son would need to endure this to set all things right. I admit, as any honest Christian preacher does, that trying to explain the inexplicable in terms of a day like this is beyond me or most anyone else I've ever heard try to do the same. I don't know exactly how this calculus works in the kingdom. But as I approach this day, imagining Jesus on the cross, I remember that I have them all over my house, and we have them all over our church, adorning really almost every room that we have. And I realize in this time of coronavirus, that part of the meaning of this day for Jesus and for Christians can be found locally around the world in every community. As I talk to our people who are involved with healthcare or affected by those in healthcare, people who have an aging parent in a nursing facility or assisted living facility, people who are caring for those who are more vulnerable and more aged than they are, I realize that many of them are taking risks. Many of those people are doing their jobs without adequate supplies or protection in an age that is unprecedented in the last 100 years in our country and in our world. I realize that there are people who wake up every day not knowing what the future holds, bearing the weight of uncertainty, who walk toward the bullets, as it were, and who continue to care for the sickest and weakest in our American community. I'm aware that there are people on the front lines of this work who are getting sick and who are dying in their attempt to care for people who are the sickest among us. And I realize in that something that Jesus must have realized, that there are some things in life more important than protecting our own lives. The notion that no greater love has someone than they give their life for their friend is a deep truth that Jesus taught us in the Gospel of John, and one that we know in our bones, in our souls, is so true. And so when we see our friends who are doctors or nurses or caregivers going back to the facilities that house sick people, we realize somehow that noble, virtuous act is more human than living a life of 80 years of accomplishment and success. That the people who are doing that, who are showing such remarkable human qualities, such courage, such disregard for their own safety ahead of others, those people are leading us into the deepest part of the truth, the deepest part of what is forever hallowed in every age. That love is worth preserving even if it kills the host organism. That being brave in the midst of fear, being willing to risk all that you have gained in order that someone else may gain a portion of that, is the highest and most honorable calling that human beings ever hear. So I can't explain to you every nuance of the theology of Jesus dying on Golgotha this day. But I know that he believed that his death was more important than protecting his own life, and that it folded into the life of God in a way that brought him peace in the midst of this violence. I know that's true because I see and know people who have that same peace as they walk in to the violence of this virus and what it can do. And they tend to and care for people who will not live without their love and their expertise. And so I walk away from Good Friday this year remembering that love is stronger than death, and that as long as there are souls who are willing to walk that road of lonely, courageous, noble service, we know that God is close to us this day, even this terrible day, and always.